Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi there, good afternoon. This is that time of the day where we answer all your stock queries. This is Your Stocks. I'm Mangla Malu. With me is Sumaira Abdi. Sumaira, not a good start to the Monday as one would imagine. If you take a look at the Nifty, while it is below that 11,000 mark, it would have been closer to the 10,950 mark had it not been for Infosys, Hindustan Unilever as well as ITC. But the bigger pain in the mid-cap index, down almost 400 points as we speak, 375. And a lot of these mid-caps, they're bleeding. And how? United Spirits, United Breweries, even the likes of BEML, which is at the low point of the day.
That's true. Actually, Mangalan, a couple of important stories as well we're tracking actually through the afternoon. One, of course, is that the LIC board has approved hiking stake in IDBI Bank to 51% via the preferential route. A lot of questions still remain on how that's going to go through. The other, of course, is flashing for you at the bottom of your screen that the government was looking to hike the load carrying capacity of heavy vehicles. So all of that we'll be tracking as well. We have our two experts joining in, Gaurang Shah and Mitesh Thakkar, are here to answer all the queries that are being sent in by our viewers. So good afternoon to both of you gentlemen. Our first query comes in from Pooja Agnihotri, who's written to us from Delhi. She holds 50 shares in DCB Bank at 133 rupees. She's been holding on for about a year and 5 months. She's a long-term investor and wants to know what she should do. So actually, DCB Bank is today, of course, hurting post the weak quarter that they've posted. And of course, through the day, we've got a lot of fundamental opinion on what to do with DCB Bank. So Mitesh, I'm keen to hear your view. She's making a bit of money, though, I don't think Mitesh is there with us. So I'm just going to toss it over to Gaurang. Then Gaurang, DCB Bank, she's holding on for almost a year and a half. She's making a bit of money. Today, of course, I mean, not the best of days to exit, but is that a strategy for when she sees a good opportunity?
So, I think, Sumira, firstly, one have to, take into consideration that last 3 to 4 quarters for DCB Bank has been quite choppy and volatile. 2 quarters down, 2 quarters up. We remain positive on DCB Bank for quite some time now, and in fact, our target stands at somewhere close to about 200 plus. So if you're not in a hurry and if you're in the stock for the long haul, I would advise you to stay invested.
All right, if you're in the stock for the long haul, stay invested. Talking about the long haul, we have Archita Kumar writing to us from New Delhi, holds 120 shares of HUL at 1190 since IPO. I think we'll have to fix that because 1190 since IPO would entail a lot of bonuses, perhaps a split as well. Not too sure about this, but we'll just need to keep an eye out on that. Holding Hindustan Unilever since the IPO, long-term investor, wants to know whether to hold or sell. Well, Mitesh, ahead of the results, the stock is at a record high. It's had a stellar run, phenomenal, up more than 50% in the last 12 months itself. What would you suggest a person do, especially since they're held into the stock since the IPO?
See, one thing but the stock has done extremely well in the last 5 months, gone up from 1300 to now at about 1750, 60. But overall, I think despite the fact that it's overbought, I think the longer term chart, which is on a monthly basis, still show that there will be higher highs being made. So for me, there's no reason to sell. I think just hold the stock. Maybe a few weeks of consolidation in between, I think, after having seen a good rally for the last 5 months. But I would conservatively put a target of around 2000 over here in case you were to give the stock another 12 to 14 months.
Gaurang, Hindustan Unilever, someone holding it since the IPO, do you think it is family silver and should not be sold?
I think platinum, to be very honest.
Platinum, all right.
And I am definitely in sync with what Mitesh has just mentioned. I think IPO time, HUL, and I think a lot will unfold, Mangalam, as we see the numbers unfold. I think anytime soon, possibly in the next half an hour to 1 hour. And if I have to reflect upon the last quarter numbers, it gives me no reason to worry about. So, in the money, deep in the money, stay that way.
Yeah, in any case, this time around, the expectations are that there will be a strong quarter, 11 to 12% volume growth. So for now, good going for HUL. Ramesh Patel is our next viewer who's written to us from Andhra Pradesh. He has 50 shares of MRF. Wow, he's been holding on since the IPO. Now that's a lot of money right there. He's a long-term investor and wants to know what he should do. Gaurang, I think I pretty much know what you're going to say. So Mitesh, what's your take? MRF, he's making 37 lakhs as we speak.
Again, I think, remains a hold for me. The stock has been making higher highs and I think made a highest level of around 81,400 in April. Since then, there's some kind of consolidation going on. But as long as it doesn't start getting below levels of 68,000, I would not be really worried. So if he wants to have a stop loss, I think he can trail it out to over there. But overall, I believe that I think holding out would be a good strategy, and the earlier high should be retested very soon after a few months of couple of months of more consolidation, and eventually should be crossed on the upside.
All right, Gaurang, you called Hindustan Unilever Platinum. This one for 37.5 lakh rupees in his capital. What would you call him?
Well, I really don't know of any more precious, possibly diamonds and precious.
Don't say diamonds right now.
But honestly speaking, Mangalam, this is one particular company that has, a lot of investors have a complaint. They're not investor friendly, no bonus, no dividend, etc., etc. But I think purely on the numbers front, if I have to go by, not to forget, it's one of the balance sheets extremely cash rich. We do have a positive coverage right from 25,000 odd levels. We still maintain a positive view on MRF.
All right, this will be like Moonstone or something.
Moonstone, perhaps. All right, enough about tires. Let's go on to trucks now. On to CNBC TV18 exclusive now. Truck makers like Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, etc. will be in focus as the new rules on axle load will be notified tomorrow. Our sources tell us that load carrying capacity of Motors, Ashok Leyland, etc. will be in focus as the new rules on axle load will be notified tomorrow. Our sources tell us that load carrying capacity of heavy trucks could be increased up to 25%. Sonia joins in now with some analysis. Sonia, what could this mean for the sector?
Well, just to explain it very in simple terms, this could mean a negative for many of the commercial vehicle makers. It could result in lower truck demand. Now, what this means is a truck that was carrying about 25 tons can now carry 28.5 tons, which means that you don't have to buy additional trucks if you want to increase your tonnage. This, of course, means effective utilization. So the Transporters Association will be very happy when this comes through. It's going to be notified tomorrow. But for CV makers itself, it's going to be a negative. Crystal has written a report recently. Remember, only the notification is tomorrow. This rule was in the works for a while now, and Crystal came out with a detailed report on what the impact of this would be on the sector as a whole. They say that fleet utilization would fall and it would immediately impact commercial vehicle sales. There will be an increase in the supply capacity on trunk routes, and that would lead to a reduction in fleet utilization. Large fleet operators would need fewer trucks to carry the same amount of load. And, what this would mean is haulage trucks, the sale could fall quite a bit. Although tipper trucks generally, they do a lot of overloading on tipper trucks. It goes intrastate, etc. So that may not impact too much. Apart from that, they also say that there was this big trend, where people were buying higher tonnage trucks to take more amount of tons across states, etc. That trend will now subside because of the stricter implementation of the overloading ban, which had led to a tonnage shift, but that trend will now subside. Also, a lot of companies had sort of decided to launch higher tonnage trucks to sort of capitalize on this trend. But now, since that trend is going to subside, let's see what kind of impact it would have. And that's the reason why you're seeing pressure on a lot of these companies like Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors, etc. So, sum and substance is that in the very near term, the demand for commercial vehicles will reduce because now you can carry more amount of tons on the same truck.
In fact, Ashok Leyland is really taking it on the chin. It's suddenly falling like a knife. Gaurang, you think this move itself is going to be very, very significant? I mean, Ashok Leyland also reports numbers tomorrow.
True.
So what's your sense of how this is going to play out?
So I think I would concur with what just Sonia has mentioned, but more than this, tonnage going up, I think what the Union Minister spoke about very recently was also taking that proposal of scrappage of old commercial vehicles to the cabinet. And if that works out, then I think if you look at the ratio in terms of what is the percentage of old trucks compared to what is the percentage of new trucks on the road, I'm talking about 15-year barometer, then that could possibly lead to a demand coming up. Of course, and not to forget, it take a while for it to entirely play into effect because you have to come out with the specifications as to what will be the benefit for the end person who's going to scrap the commercial vehicle which is 15-year above. So, short to medium term, yes, this news could possibly play an overhang. But let me mention this, Ashok Leyland, M&M and Tata Motors, all the three commercial vehicle companies, we are extremely positive, including Eicher Motors because they are also into making of commercial vehicles.
Weakness for the mid-cap index continues, 400 points lower now. As we speak, we have Berger Paints at the low point of the day, Escorts, 8cc. You put your finger on any of the top F&O stocks, all of them lower. But the one which is hurting most right now is is Ashok Leyland, which is now about 8% now, perhaps on account of fears that the demand for CVs may come off with increasing load norms. So we'll have to watch out for that. Now 9% lower, closer to 122 rupees. At this point in time, let's get in a quick query. We have Nishit Atal writing to us from Nashik, holds 1,000 shares of Tata Chemicals at 500 rupees for the last 3 years. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell, making a fair amount of money, 1.78 lakh rupees. Gaurang, someone holding Tata Chemicals, what would your view be?
Well, again, if I'm not in the need of money and if I have time on my side, I would definitely advise the investors to hold on to it. Not to forget, in the recent 2 to 3 quarters, Mangalam, this is one stock which has actually come off from the highs that we've seen. And on fallback of earnings visibility and the kind of products that they have in the market share, I think I'm quite sure that if you hold on to it, there is a lot more to be made on Tata Chemicals. So if you have time on your side, hold on to it.
All right, Mitesh, your quick take?
I think for me, I think this would be a profit booking opportunity. My sense is that the stock has kind of made a short to medium term peak over here. And I think it will be a good time to possibly exit and take profits. I do expect about 15-20 point kind of correction. If the investor is okay with that kind of price decline and still hold on, I think that's okay. Otherwise, my sense is to exit right now.
All right, Deepak Verma has written to us from Punjab. He has 500 shares in PFC. He's bought it at about 100 rupees, so making quite a bit of loss over there. He's been holding on for a year. He wants to know what he should do with his investment at the moment. Mitesh, let me come to you at this. The stock is at a 52-week low. It's headed, nowhere except south through the year. Should he just bite the bullet?
That's one choice, but the other thing is that the stock on multiple occasions has bottomed out around levels of 55-60, and we are not very far away from that. So I think if we can average around 60 to 55 range, that would be a good strategy. Keep a stop loss below 48, 49, and I think with the average price coming down, any relief rally on the medium term charts to about levels of 85 would be excellent exiting opportunity. So in that sense, I think since the stock is very close, not very close, but getting very close to the longer term charts support zone, I think I would suggest if you can buy around 60 or in the range of 60 to 55, I think that is what I would suggest.